Hey, it's me, MLB. Here's chapter 72 of Rapid Fate Online, and this one's titled Money Money Mahi. He nodded into your shoulder and then pulled back and stayed behind you as you swam to the hole and poked your head in again. Do you have a light? You bubbled back to him. Through? He asked, half yelling so that you could hear his voice. Light! You queried again, pretending to be holding a torch and shining it around. He understood your hand motion and pulled a light orb from his inventory and handed it to you. As a thank you, you smiled in return, and then took it from him and held it out through the hole so you could see better inside the dark shipwreck. The light orb illuminated the internals, and you slowly pulled yourself inside the hull to have a look around, hand held up high so that the orb could shine further. As you crept in, you saw a chest up against the back wall, and Walk floated over to it. A chest! Treasure! You grinned back at Butterfly, then reached out and touched the lock on the chest with your free hand. It's just a simple padlock, you thought, removing your hand to swipe open your inventory and pull out a lockpick. I'll have this open in no time. With a single hand you placed the pick inside the lock, and within 2 jabs you had it open, much to Butterfly's surprise, and he watched on as he floated over behind you. Ever so slowly you opened the chest, your gaze falling onto bags upon bags of mahi. We're rich! You screeched excitedly, your rapid exhale of words causing a myriad of bubbles to obscure your face as they rushed to the roof of the ship. Butterfly swam forwards curiously and looked in, his eyes widening when he saw that yes, there were a heap of bags of money in there, and yes, they were there for the taking. You passed the light orb to him and picked up the bags of mahi, depositing it into your inventory to check over later. Having cleaned out the chest of money, you and Butterfly made your way back out of the ship and started walking back in the direction of your island, but with him being a little concerned that you both didn't know where you were going, he directed you to swim to the surface so that you could get your bearings from there. All that mahi! You exclaimed as both of your heads popped up above the waterline. I'm assuming the eel was guarding it, Butterfly replied as he bobbed beside you, then looked around for your island. Seeing it in the distance, he started swimming towards it, so you followed beside him. What to do with all this mahi? You said, still shell-shocked that you'd suddenly come into a massive inheritance. If only we could use it in real life. I have no need for mahi. I have you, Butterfly said softly. Well, I have you and mahi, you announced proudly. He smiled at you. Once back on the deck outside your overwater bungalow, you dried off and changed into dry clothes. It's starting to get late in real life, you said to Butterfly. I should go and sleep. I should too, he said as well, stifling a yawn. We have a big day tomorrow, you leered, suddenly remembering that you and he were going to do it in real life tomorrow. Butterfly blushed and looked away, a little smile pulling at his lips. Yeah. You grinned and jumped at him, grabbing around his neck, then pulling him backwards on top of you as you fell back onto the bed. A few kisses ensued, and then you settled back and lay side by side before logging out. After exiting RFO, you lay on your bed, staring up at the ceiling with a tender smile on your face. I'm really looking forward to making love tomorrow. Your heart jumped, and you took your headset off as you rolled onto your stomach and screamed into your pillow, while flailing your arms, still holding the headset in hand. Ah, how embarrassing! After calming down, you put the headset beside the bed and snuggled down to sleep, finally drifting off amid a torrent of mixed dreams. The next morning you were up and off to school at a cracking pace, fueled by the excitement of the coming afternoon's activities. You met Tamaki in the busy locker room and grinned at him. Morning, cutie, you said with a playful cheekiness in your voice. Hi, Yen, he said softly in greeting, his head lowered and his eyes peeking out at you from behind his fringe. I'm looking forward to this afternoon, you whispered with a cute eyebrow wiggle, and he blushed profusely, instantly smacking his head against the locker and hiding his face from you. Aw, don't be shy, you giggled. It's okay, it's only me. Like you always did, you squished yourself between him and the locker and looked up into his face as he hung it down. I'm just as nervous as you are, but we're in it together, aren't we? So we'll be fine. He nodded. I'm afraid to admit just how excited I am about it. But I'm also really nervous, he whispered in a quivering voice as his thin irises begged you to comfort him. You reached your hands up around his neck and slid your back up the locker so that his head rested on your shoulder and hugged him close, ignoring everyone else milling around the two of you. You know we don't have to do it, you reassured him. We can wait. No, I want to, he admitted. You're my one true love. Your heart melted and you squeezed him more before reaching your hands to his cheeks and lifting his head while smushing his cheeks together. And you're mine too. Like I said, we're in this together. He nodded and gave you a loving look. At that moment the bell rang, so you had to head off to class, which you did, hand in hand. Mirio grinned when you entered together, and he nudged best friend, who was sitting beside him on the desk. She looked over and cupped her hands to her mouth so that she could project a yell. Ayo! It's a married couple! Shh! You hushed her as Tamaki shrank back a little behind you. Why you gotta be so loud? Why you gotta be so quiet? She replied sassily. You chuckled and looked back at Tamaki. It's okay, come on, gather that confidence now. He nodded at you and straightened a little, letting go of your hand and giving them both a small smile before heading to his desk. Mirio scooted across to chat to Tamaki while you sat down at your desk and your bestie cornered you there. And there ends chapter 72. Also, the mention of them committing intimacy in real life was mentioned in the deleted chapter of the smut chapter of chapter 70, just for anyone that was like, when was this discussed? But that'll be cut out as well, so I guess we don't even need to cover that. Stay tuned for chapter 73 coming tomorrow.